So my name is Ellie Reza. I'm the Director of Support Services, and my job is to run 5.5 departments. The departments are the University Print Shop, and the print shop prints everything there is to be printed in for faculty and staff here on campus. All the stationery, posters that you see on the walls, everything comes from the print shop, most everything. The departmental copy program is another department, and that's a program where we have a copier, and we have over 200 copiers on this campus that staff and faculty share, so they're not supposed to really have individual printers everywhere, but they still do. So we're trying to work on that and have, we call this the copier carpool proposal. We try to have everybody print to those copiers rather than have individual printers. The property department is also part of support services, and that department basically keeps track of all the assets the university has. Mail services and receiving.
And I'm Reza. I'm in charge of the purchasing department for the campus. Essentially, anything that comes to the campus purchasing, whether it's a microscope, paper, fuel, tires, vehicles, and any construction that's done on the campus comes through my office. We have a lot of bidding requirements and those kinds of things. But anything that faculty would buy, staff would buy, or students would need for their classrooms would come through my office on purchasing.
How do we change the slide?
I can stay right here and change it.
No, not at all. No, I can do it.
So first of all, we'd just like to briefly cover the policies, rules, regulations, and reporting requirements that we have. I don't know how familiar everybody is with the system as a whole. I'm sure you have some general knowledge. We're part of a 23 campus system and the Chancellor's Office, so it's 24 plus 23. And a lot of our rules and regulations are ed code, executive orders, trustee policy, and then we are on down to campus policy. And fortunately for us in the environment, the Chancellor's Office really supports sustainability. They have a real commitment to it. So we're thankful for that. And their energy policy is really for us to reduce non-reusable resources and increase energy efficiency. So we're guided by the American College and University President's Climate Commitment, which is a timetable. It has various components, but we're focusing on the timetable to reduce their carbon footprint. And we have a goal of becoming climate neutral. I don't actually recall the year. Do you recall, Reza, where?
2016 or 17, I think one of those two.
One of those years. So we're working, there's many ways for us to do this, but we're focusing really on the transportation component of it right now. And that's another committee that was basically born out of the President Alexander signing this commitment. Part of that was the development of a campus-wide sustainability task force, which has many subcommittees. We have transportation, purchasing, which I chair. Many of them, there's, tracking the environment, carbon footprints. I can't even remember.
Yeah, there are academics, there's the energy, we have on the food services, dining services.
Yeah, anything you can basically think of that relates to sustainability, there's a subcommittee. Right. So within purchasing, we have a commitment to being environmentally responsible in our purchasing. Our primary tool on task for tracking that is an annual report that we have to measure recycled content products that we purchase throughout the campus. There's 11 categories that we report on throughout the year. And in those categories, we have a mandated percentage of dollar spend that we have to track, and also an established content that we have to track. In purchasing last fiscal year, which is June 30th to July 1st of each year. In purchasing, we spent just over $40 million throughout the campus. So of that, some of those categories that we track, plastic, metal, paper, glass, and for each of those categories, we have to commit 50% of our spend to recycled purchases. And of those purchases, like plastic, for example, of that, 10% of those purchases has to be post-consumer content. Paper, 30% post-consumer content. And of that, some of those goals we meet easily. Paper would be one of them. Some of them we have more challenges, plastic, for example. But, you know, we're pretty on target for that. And then for that, we have to have the vendors, actually, they're required to give us a certificate which shows how much of the item that we're buying contains post-consumer material. One of our biggest challenges in meeting that goal is the requirements that I was talking about earlier. We have requirements that are dictated by public contracting code, which requires us to go out to bid. And sometimes, because we go out to bid, the green products are actually more expensive than the non-green products. And we're mandated to buy items that are lower cost, obviously, because those are your tax dollars that are at work. So there's kind of a disconnect because we want to be sustainable and buy those green products. However, if they're more expensive, we really can't. So that's one of our big challenges. One area where we have a little bit more flexibility is appliances. The Energy Star appliances, as everybody knows, they're more efficient, and they're actually quite comparable in the price to the non-Energy Star rated appliances. Cleaning products, that's a challenge for us because they're typically more expensive, and they're not always available through our vendors that we have contracts with. We have contracts with vendors for office supplies, and just on our campus alone, last fiscal year, we spent $660,000 in office supplies. So it's a significant amount of our purchases. This year to date, we've spent $464,000, which we've reduced significantly because we've had an office substitution product requirement that was mandated through the Chancellor's office. And what they did was they took any of the products that were less expensive but had the same form and function, and when you go online to order something, they'll automatically substitute it. Like you might say, I want this pen, but it's more expensive, so they will automatically substitute it with a cheaper pen. On the downside, that cheaper pen might not be a recyclable pen. So we have that challenge with a lot of the spend there. Furniture, we're always looking for recycled content. Steel is almost always considered recycled content product. Wood, so anything that we see, the plastic that we're sitting on probably has a portion of recycled content as well.
And this is the paper that Lorinda mentioned. And I'm sorry that this is, I don't know how my computer saved this, but my virgin paper price is gone. It's actually, I blame the computer for this because I put it in about 8 times this morning. It's $3.40 for the virgin paper. And we want to be, like Lorinda was saying, we have to buy the least expensive product, but we also want to be as environmentally responsible as possible. So we found that 30% recycled paper is not that much more expensive than the virgin, but it does a whole lot of good. We save about, each pallet saves about 7.2 trees, and then it tells you also what else it saves there. But I wanted to tell you about 100% recycled paper. First of all, as you can see, it's an entire $1 more per ream, and the ream is just that one little block of paper. So it's much more expensive. And also, when we put it into the copiers, because there's a lot of dust on the 100% recycled paper, so it causes a lot of damage for newer technology. The copiers, the large copiers, cannot handle the 100% recycled paper for too long. They can go for about